This is a topic that comes up a lot with freelancers. Do you take equity? There's kind of two sides to the question. I think sometimes what they're asking is, hey, the client asked if I would take equity for a cheaper rate. Should I do it? That's kind of what's behind the question, or how should I talk to the client about it? And in a lot of cases, that's really what is going on. The client may not have the cash to pay you your full rate. Will you take some equity? Of course, in some cases, the equity may be worth something, but really what's behind it is they're asking for a discount. On the flip side, for the freelancer, you don't have the equity that employees get. You don't typically have an upside in the businesses that you help create. So if one of them is massively successful, you're never going to have one of those asymmetric outcomes that early employees can have. So there's a give and a take to it. So I had sort of experimented with taking equity early on in projects, usually as a discount. I realized pretty quickly I don't like giving a forever discount on a cash rate for a sort of indeterminate chunk of equity that has dubious value, but also you're never going to be around to defend your stake. For example, when the company raises a lot more money, you're going to be a tiny little sliver on the cap table, and usually you're giving a discount on a rate in perpetuity for a one-time equity grant. So let's say I stay with that company for 5 years. Typically, I'm not getting more and more and more equity. They want to just do it as a single grant. So I think in general, my advice to people early on thinking about equity is if there's a way you can do it without giving a forever discount, that's good. I would also just always think about, assume the equity will be worth zero, because it very likely will be, except in exceptional cases. So make sure the money, the cash that you're making, you're comfortable with. You can't pay your rent with equity. But on the flip side, I've seen significant financial reward from owning pieces of the products that I've helped create. So it's paid off for me in the long term. And that's another piece of it. Just like investing and venture capitalists will tell you, it is a long-term process and it's an outliers game. So if you only take equity in one or two projects, the odds that it hits are very, very low. But if you have a broad distribution, your odds are better. And then so the last thing I would say, what I eventually shifted to was, I really didn't like the idea of giving a forever discount for a one-time equity grant, but I really did want to own, in some cases, even a more significant chunk of these companies. And I noticed how it created such great alignment between me and the founder. And so I decided to basically start buying the equity up front by investing my own capital and buying the equity in the exact same way that investors do at the terms their last investors got, or sometimes better in some cases. And that slight shift, it might even be the same amount of money that would be a discount that you're actually giving directly to the client, but the orientation and the interpersonal dynamics change completely. You're on the cap table as an investor, you get the investor updates. You've given this amazing vote of confidence up front that, hey, I'm putting my capital on the line for this as well. I'm an owner in the business. And so that's how I buy equity these days. And it also allows for a little bit better visibility into, like future financing rounds. And if I want to do pro rata or buy more equity, I've had to build up to that over a couple years, but that's how I do it these days, investing up front as opposed to taking a discount.